This year's quarterback class is regarded as much, much better than last year's quarterback class, where we really didn't see many, if any, franchise caliber players. But this year, there seems to be potentially quite a few of them. So I want to make a multi-part series, just kind of breaking down if I think these guys, and in this episode, I'm focusing on Tyler Van Dyke, KJ Jefferson, and Anthony Richardson, and give you my thoughts on where they're at right now, and if I project them to actually be future NFL stars. So let's get right into it. The first prospect I want to take a look at is Tyler Van Dyke. All right, he's the quarterback for the University of Miami. He is a redshirt sophomore. He is 6'4", listed at 225 pounds, so a bigger quarterback. And he's someone that has only played in about 10 games in his career, but is already getting hype as potentially the third best quarterback in this draft after Stroud. After Young, there is a contingency of people who think that. I've seen him at the back end of a lot of different mock drafts, so he's someone that is definitely on the first round radar. Certainly not a first round lock, though, at this point. So let's see if he is worth the hype. So my first impression of watching Tyler Van Dyke is, okay, this dude is a below average NFL athlete, and that's the opposite of what I should be thinking. I want to immediately see, oh, this guy is a level above everyone else on the field. This guy belongs in the NFL, not college, because he is just so special. I mean, that's what you would think watching the talent of Josh Allen or Herbert or Mahomes or Kyler or Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, basically all the top guys. They're freaks. And when I watch plays like this from Tyler Van Dyke right out of the gate, a deep shot, safety stays on that crosser, and this ball goes 50 yards in the air, then dies, and the wide receiver has to turn around and jump for it. I'm like, okay, this guy does not have a high-end NFL arm. And I get that this is just one play, but still, I'd like to see that go a lot farther. I can throw it 45 yards, okay? I went to the Carleton College football field and threw one as far as I could, and it went 45. This went 50 and then died. So it's like, I just want to see a little bit more than that, that's for sure. He can run a little bit, but he's definitely not someone I would hit with like the mobile rushing threat label, okay? Here he's going to try to make a guy miss in the open field after no one's open, and he's just not the type of guy who's going to do that. He's not twitchy, he's not explosive, he's not particularly fast. All right, so immediately after watching this, like a couple plays into this game, I'm like, I expect to see someone who can win with superior accuracy and with superior instincts and IQ and ability to read the field. But that's just not what I got. Number 20, the slot corner, he's going to release into the flat. Number 10 is going to take some steps towards the boundary, and that creates a hole in the zone right here. And you've got a wide receiver settling in that area. And this is just a layup of all layups. Clean throwing lane, no pressure. Just hit your wide receiver right in the numbers, and this is all good. But it's just a bad ball. It's wobbly. It leads the wide receiver into that hit. Doesn't put it on the numbers. He's got to adjust to it, even though it's like a 10-yard pass. And yeah, he's got to make a catch outside of his frame with a safety bearing down on him. Takes a shot, and the safety actually rips the ball away from the wide receiver. So you might say, oh, this is just the wide receiver's fault. But this is just a bad pass on a very easy throw for Tyler Van Dyke. On this play, there's going to be some play action. So he's reading the linebackers, 33 straight up blitzes, and even 45 bites on it a little bit and comes up. And he's got a crossing route coming in behind those guys, number 11. And right now, there's just no chance 45 is flipping his hips and running with 11. This throw is wide open as soon as he hits the top of his drop. Wide open. And there's a little bit of pressure here. And maybe he can't throw it right now. I think he probably could, but I guess he thinks he can't. But even if you couldn't throw it right then and there, step up, make an athletic play, throw it a little bit across your body, and hit it anyway. I mean, this is free money for any of the high-end quarterbacks in the NFL, any of them. And Tyler Van Dyke just can't access that throw once he's moved off his spot. And that's concerning. And then he doesn't look very dynamic as a runner either. Again, that is a 50-yard. I mean, let's look at it from this angle. Watch 11. This is a 50-yard play if he can hit it. And he doesn't hit it. And that's concerning. Here we go again, play action. This linebacker bites on it harder than I've ever seen a linebacker bite on play action. He comes flying downfield. None of these safeties really replace him. They stay up too high. And that completely vacates the middle of the field where you've got this route going into that vacated area, right? And he's looking directly at it. Looking directly at number 3 here. Put it on him. Nope, doesn't pull the trigger. He's moved off his spot. Tries to be an athlete. Horrible throw. And actually how they ended up scoring on this drive was number 5's running this quick in route, and they've got a defender, I mean, just sitting on that. Like, this is his zone, and you've got the guy running straight into the zone. He hasn't cleared him at all or anything, and he rips that thing in there anyway. And I think that genuinely surprises the corner, and if he was actually paying closer attention, this is a pick 6. But he's still able to get his hand up, bat this thing up in the air, and it ends up falling in the hands of the Miami receiver. So this goes down as a touchdown, a clutch touchdown on the stat sheet of Tyler Van Dyke. But as far as I'm concerned, this process would earn him a pick 6 in the league. All right, projecting against better athletes, this is getting punished most of the time. Now, I realize that I'm being incredibly harsh, and I realize that that's just one game. And there are games where he looked a little bit more capable of just slicing and dicing you from the pocket, like this game against Pitt. You see cover 3, this guy's opened his hips to take the deep third, middle of the field safety, deep third, this corner is going into the flat. That leaves a hole up the seam. He sees that, stands in under pressure, and just delivers a dime to his wide receiver. Like, that's nice to see, and he was overall pretty good in this game. Or on this play when his left guard loses right away, so he's got to pull the trigger on this dig route before he has even cleared the defender here. Good timing, good accuracy, good pocket presence to withstand the pressure there. I think what is going on with Tyler Van Dyke hype is we just have our expectations out of whack. Because most college quarterbacks are ass, dude. Most of them are so limited and they'll never get a shot in the NFL. Like, they played Bethune week 1. Miami played Bethune. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. But Bethune's quarterback, I don't know anything about him. He's probably ass. He's probably limited in ways that mean that he will never, ever, ever, ever get a shot at the NFL. And so when you watch a college game and you see one quarterback playing for Bethune and then you see Tyler Van Dyke, you watch Tyler Van Dyke and you say, oh, that's what a pro quarterback is supposed to look like. And you're right. Tyler Van Dyke probably will be a pro quarterback, but most pro quarterbacks are not worth first-round picks. Most of them are bad, low-end starters or backups. Does Tyler Van Dyke break that mold? Is he special enough to be one of the few who are actually worth that high draft capital? And to me, when I look at him, a below-average athlete, a guy who has only played 10 games and has some clunker games in those, like, to me, that's just not a guy I'm taking a shot on to break that mold. So I don't think he's a first-round pick, even though he does some nice things. The next guy I want to look at is another redshirt sophomore, and that's KJ Jefferson out of Arkansas. And I haven't seen him as a first-round prospect as much, but he is someone I've seen with some Heisman buzz, someone who has the build and the talent to be a draft riser. So let's check out his game. KJ Jefferson definitely has some things going for him. He's built like Cam Newton, all right, and he's fast for his size. He's mobile. He's really tough to bring down. He's not afraid to lower the shoulder. Anytime you watch a guy who is able to reset his hips and throw it 60 yards downfield while falling down, it makes you pay attention a little bit. He's a big play waiting to happen. He's got the skill set to take over plays or sometimes even full games. On this play, thought it was a good idea to scramble out here. There wasn't much open. And then on the run, is able to give his wide receiver a chance here, 45 yards down the field. And this was not completed, and neither was that pass where he was falling down. But at least when things go wrong, he's able to make something happen anyway and at least give the wide receiver a chance. But KJ Jefferson is not Cam Newton. He is probably closer to the Arkansas quarterback who came before him, Felipe Franks. He's probably closer to that than a Cam Newton caliber quarterback. Sometimes I watch him, like his eyes on a normal drop back. I'm like, what are you looking at, dude? Keep in mind here, there are no routes developing in the middle of the field here. And he's still looking there and then just throws things out of bounds. If you look at the actual routes that are happening on this play, I mean, this is cover 4. And you've got this curl route. So that's a pretty good place to maybe throw it once you recognize that this is cover 4, which is not exactly disguised here, that you've got 3 underneath defenders and 4 high, right? This is not any kind of mystery. This guy's not getting any kind of depth. If you recognize that, pull the trigger and hit this guy on the curl. Doesn't do that. All right. Well, then where does he look next? I mean, you've got a check down wide open. It's 1st and 10. You can hit that and pick up a solid 6-7 yards. Doesn't do that either from a perfectly clean pocket. He just is like looking around and just fires it out of bounds. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what he was doing. Here's another kind of pro-style drop back, and these guys are going to try to settle in the hole in the zone. And he wants the outside receiver, right? That's where his eyes go immediately after the snap, and he kind of stares it down. And this corner is not getting the depth that KJ Jefferson would like him to get. He wants the corner to feel threatened by the speed, really start to back up, maybe open his hips, and then when the curl happens, just hit it. But that's not happening, and the corner is all over this. But KJ Jefferson is going to throw this late, well after the receiver is already broken, and he's like, I've made it this far. Again, there is a check down here. You can move on to maybe your next read who's a little bit more open. There is time at this moment. But no, he's going to throw it anyway. So kind of a lazy read, a lazy process, and kind of lazy mechanics here, I think, a little bit. And threw what very much should have been an interception right here. And you may think he completely turned around Arkansas and has carried them back from the depths of the SEC, but I think he's actually in a pretty good situation. The offensive line is amazing. Every player in this little circle is probably 6'7". They're all huge. He had Treylon Burks last year, and the Arkansas play calling was honestly pretty creative and manufactured a lot of easy looks for him. So I don't think that he was exactly the catalyst to this turnaround, although he certainly has been good for them and is a good college quarterback. Projecting him into the pros, I don't think he totally turned around that program by himself. Anyway, on this play, like I said, that offensive line is just balling all the time in the world to stand in there. Middle of the field open, why not take a shot? If this safety is not really going to get deep and respect this deep speed here, I'd like to see him stand in there and maybe take that shot against a middle of the field open coverage. If you're not going to stand in there and take that shot, 45 starts dropping back. This linebacker starts getting depth. There's a hole in the middle of the field to hit this little drag. It's not going to hit that either. At the very least, if you're going to pass up those looks, I'd like to see the check down be accurate, which it's not. This is what I mean about his situation. It is not that bad. Watch the play call, misdirection, motion, play action, tricks the defensive line, gets them all out of there. The offensive line blocks the ones that do stay. He's got all day to throw this. This just doesn't exist in the NFL. And then throw it up to Treylon Burks, who rises up, catches this pass that's probably a little bit behind him and above him. No problem for him. Touchdown. This is just, people show this play on a KJ Jefferson highlight reel, and it's yeah, congrats. Cool, I guess. So overall, I do question his ability to read out the middle of the field. He tends to avoid throwing it there. Here they're going to kind of run a pick. It works. These guys get caught up in the wash, and here comes number 19 open. Not going to pull the trigger there. You could also say that both of these safeties are taking this deep shot, gives you an opportunity to hit the whole shot that he could maybe pull the trigger on right now. He doesn't do that either. So is he just going to be able to, once you remove him from Arkansas's system, which I think is pretty good, and you get him with all these really high caliber athletes, is he going to be special enough as a passer? And he doesn't exactly consistently throw the prettiest ball. There were at least 4 passes versus Cincinnati that were wobbly and low, and the wide receivers had to try to pick him up off the dirt, which makes me think his arm strength is fine, but maybe it's not in that elite tier. He's definitely a draftable quarterback. He's for sure worth taking a chance on and seeing what you can develop, but is he someone right now that I trust to be a franchise quarterback? I don't know about that. And then the last guy I want to talk about is someone who is not only getting first round hype, but could potentially be taken first overall next spring. In the Tyler Van Dyke video, I said that I want to know, instantly, within the first couple snaps that I watch you, that you are a crazy special athlete. That's what really moves me. And in the first quarter of this game, Anthony Richardson rolled out of the pocket and then just quickly reset his feet and threw this pass about 70 yards in the air and hit the wide receiver in the stomach. All right, now it was incomplete, but to get that much power on the ball, to effortlessly create that much velocity, the ball just explodes out of his hand. And to throw it accurately, okay, I'm moved. Number 7 Utah does not have this horrible defense, and, a minute into the game, you can already tell that he's the best athlete out there, right? Breaking these guys down with the juke, really exploding forward after he plants that foot in the ground, really fast, almost makes the next guy miss. A little bit more of a nuanced runner than even KJ Jefferson, faster, doesn't absorb as much contact, that's for sure. And he almost broke that one much longer if he could have kept his balance there at the end. But yeah, he really stood out fast. On this play, Richardson wants Arizona State legend Ricky Pearsall on a crossing route, which you can't really see right now, but you can see number 3 read his eyes, break off this drag, and take that away. All of a sudden, the guy that he wants isn't there, and he's got to get creative. He navigates the pocket, makes 2 guys miss, resets his eyes, resets his body, makes a throw to Pearsall on the sideline. It hits Pearsall, but he can't quite bring it in, and it's incomplete, but still. That's why it's not surprising when later in the game, 2 free rushers have a free shot at him. He hits a pump fake spin move, shakes them both, and scores the 2-point conversion to put him up 3. You're like, that tracks. You could see that he was a playmaker within the first 5 seconds of this game, and he's going to burn you eventually. And then the other huge play in this game was this one where they've only got 2 guys running routes, really long, developing deep routes. And he's more than content to step up in the pocket, and he doesn't drop his eyes too early. And I think not only is he waiting to see if a guy gets open, and I don't even think that's really what he's doing. I think he's just waiting because the longer he holds the ball, the farther downfield all of these guys have to get. So he's just waiting, getting him as far out of there as possible, and then he takes off. And you see the speed as he kind of rounds past the line of scrimmage here, rounds that corner. I mean, I think that he would be top 5 fastest starter in the league once he eventually gets there. And Richardson is not perfect, just like Van Dyke, just like Jefferson. There are times when I'm like, that is a clean pocket. You have an open receiver. Watch this drag coming in from the right-hand side of your screen. I mean, if you hit that, that's free, easy yards right there. And instead, he's got to make it hard, bail from the clean pocket. He has to stiff arm a dude and break a tackle, which he can do, and that's good. But this is just a scary way to do it and opens you up for more things going wrong. Or this play, for example, where I think he thinks that he's a little bit too good for this drag route on 3rd down and long, even though he's looking at it when the tight end clears this linebacker here and gets separation. And if you put this out in front of him, there's plenty of room for the tight end to catch this and turn upfield. But Richardson wants to throw something past the sticks. He scrambles out of the pocket. There's nothing there. He's got to make a throw, falling down with 2 guys about to hit him. And honestly, the zip on this ball, considering the arm angle and platform he threw this from, is like a little impressive to me, because most quarterbacks could not get this past the sticks from this launch angle, and it's almost picked off. So just got to take a little bit. The explosive plays are great. I love them, and they can turn you into a really, really great quarterback. But you also got to know when to take the easy play as well. All right, and that's something Anthony Richardson still got to work on. But it's not like he completely avoided the middle of the field, and I think that these are things he can learn as he gets more experience for sure. I also watched his game against Georgia last year, and it wasn't great, can't lie, but it's not like there were a bunch of missed opportunities out there. Georgia's defense is just really, really stifling, and it was in this game. But there were still some nice moments here. The edge rusher just torches that left tackle. Looks like he peeks at the boundary side there, doesn't like it. By the time he actually wants to work the field side, there's already a edge rusher bearing down on him, but he steps up and still completes this pass by jumping over the edge rusher to get the throw off cleanly. And despite the fact that he's not really getting any hip rotation and he's not throwing with his feet in the ground here, that ball still has a lot of power on it, a lot of heat on it. And I like seeing that under pressure, solving problems by jumping, and liked to see that. This was the other play I like to see. All right, obviously we can all see he's got immense talent, but can he just win picking guys apart from the pocket? This is 3 reads. First read is this dude right here, but number 11 is already breaking on it. He doesn't want to throw it, moves on to the next read. This little like in-breaker here, but the safety's sitting on it right there, so that would be a hospital ball or a pick if he threw that. All right, next read. Here it is, right behind him. Also in-breaking. There's a lot more room to operate here. Wide receiver does a nice job settling down. Good timing to get through 3 reads. Good velocity on the ball. Stands strong in the pocket. Is able to get it just over this jumping defensive linebacker. Looks like a linebacker. Is was able to just throw it right over his head and right into the hands of that receiver. So I thought that was good, but as far as good moments from this game, that's about as far as it goes. Going back to the Utah game real quick, I mean, there are plays like this one where his mechanics look out of whack. He's standing too narrow. He's toesy, and his follow through is a little weird. And there might be games where this doesn't get fixed. There might be some disaster classes here against some of the better SEC teams. Maybe he keeps missing these open guys. Maybe the mechanical issues cause accuracy issues and he finishes with a sub 60% completion percentage. I don't know. There's a lot of things that can happen from now until the draft. But right now, I'm very excited about him. I'm very excited about his talent. I'm very excited about what I saw overall from him. So, well, yes, he might be a project. And these next couple of weeks are going to be very key for, of course, all of these quarterbacks. Nothing is set in stone, but especially him, because I think he's got the talent to go number one overall. But we do need to see this performance against Utah consistently, and we need to see some of these mechanical issues and missed reads cleaned up. So overall, I like him a lot. I really do, but I'm not totally confident in him being a franchise guy right now. But if the draft was tomorrow, I'd probably still pick him in the top half of the first round because the tools are just that special. So those are my thoughts on those three, and I'll be back soon. I'm not sure if it'll be tomorrow or next week or when it'll be. I'll be back with my thoughts on the rest of the class: Stroud, Young, Levis, and then some other guys like the kid from BYU, Hall, Hooker, right, the guy from Tennessee, maybe Grayson McCall, maybe a couple other guys who are doing well. So we'll see how many I get to. I'm hoping to get through at least 7 of them. But anyway, I'll be back with more takes on these quarterbacks next week, and I will see you then.